Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Sharing Calm. Today I have for you a full length, so about an hour long yin practice to explore the concept of Satya. So Satya in yoga philosophy refers to truthfulness. And this not only includes truthfulness in the mind, truthfulness in how we speak, but also truthfulness of how we act and move through the world. And what I mean by that is kind of responding to your own sense of inner truth, your own inner reality, not lying to yourself or others. So in practice, when we're moving and holding poses in yin on our yoga mat, this means listening to what your body needs, not going too far, but also not holding yourself back. Kind of finding that perfect, what they refer to as edge of sensation in each pose. Now, if you're not familiar with Yin Yoga, in Yin Yoga, we hold postures for anywhere between 1 and 5 minutes. Today, 1 to 3 minutes, I'll have you hold. So it's a very beginner-friendly practice today, and we're just going to get right into it. So starting in a seated position, sitting tall, you can sit kneeling or cross-legged. I'm sitting up on a block to lift my seat a little bit higher. Beginning with a neck stretch. Let the right ear drop towards the right shoulder. Stretching into the left side of the neck. If you'd like to take that left arm and wrap it around the back, that might be nice. But right away, tapping into the truth of what you need here. So if wrapping the arm around the back increases the stretch too much, then no need. And just breathe and be present with what is there for you right now. Noticing the breath. If you're holding the breath to the best of your ability, allow the inhales and exhales to flow freely. Take one more breath in. You're doing anything with the arms, release that. Roll the chin down through the chest. Lift it up through center. And take it to the left side. Left ear towards the left shoulder. The right side of the neck, feel it growing long. Feel that stretch, that sensation through the right side of the neck. Perhaps you wrap the right arm around the back. Aiming to keep the right shoulder somewhat heavy, moving down in space away from the right ear. And just continuing to breathe. Being present with whatever arises. Gently release the arm if you're using it. Roll the chin down through the chest. And lift the head up through the center. In our next shape, we're going to take a side bend. You don't have to include the legs at all. You can just keep sitting how you were. But if you'd like to, you might have that right knee bent inwards, left leg extending long, leaning over to the left side. I like to bend my left elbow, rest my head in my hand in some way, stretching into the right side of the body here, moving down from the neck, down into the torso. Notice if you're dipping the top shoulder forward and down, try to open it up, pulling that shoulder back. And slowly sitting back up and transitioning into the second side. So if you had the legs crossed or you're staying kneeling, don't worry about the legs, but otherwise left knee bends, foot comes in, right leg long, leaning over to the right side. The right arm can stay long here. If you go far enough to where you might bend the elbow and rest the head in the hands, you can do that. You might also lift the elbow up onto a block or a prop of some kind. Breathing into the left side of the ribs, feeling them expand and contract. And then inhale, sitting tall. Then moving towards hands and knees, however is easiest for you to get there. If you need to pad under the knees with a blanket, you can do so here, bringing the wrists just about beneath the shoulders, knees just about beneath the hips, spreading all 10 fingers wide for a solid foundation beneath you. We'll move through a couple minutes of cat-cow here, inviting mobility into the spine. So this will be the most movement that we take. Go ahead and drop the belly down. Chest comes forward. Breathe in. And then round the spine up to the sky. Tuck the chin towards the chest. Breathe out. Inhale, belly down, chest forward. You'll notice the tailbone reaching up and back. Exhale, rounding the spine to the sky. Tail tucks underneath you, chin to the chest. Inhale, cow pose, belly down, heart forward, shoulders pull back. Exhale, rounding the spine to the sky. Inhale your cow pose. Follow your breath. If it's faster or slower than my guidance, needn't matter. This is your practice. So your breath and your body guiding the way. Moving between extension in your cow pose and flexion in your cat pose, extending and flexing the spine, a little or a lot. And finish the round that you're on. And then flatten the back. We'll move into puppy pose next. So the aim here will be to keep the knees and the hips above one another for the most part. Walk the hands forward and release the forehead down. If the forehead does not touch your mat, then you can place a block beneath the head, maybe a blanket, maybe a pillow. If extending both of the arms straight forward feels like too much, you can widen the arms, widening the hands apart from one another, or perhaps even the opposite. Maybe narrowing the hands, bringing them closer together feels right. Always, always just noticing the sensations in the body and finding almost a comfortable level of discomfort. Neither too much sensation nor too little. With each exhale, feel the chest softening down. With each inhale, breathing into the upper back. The exhales relax the chest down. The inhales expand the upper back. Slowly start to lift back up and come onto all fours for a moment. And then when you're ready, coming all the way down, bringing the hips and the tops of the legs down, but keeping the chest lifted, finding Sphinx pose. So coming into another back bend, this one moving a little bit lower into the back. Elbows beneath the shoulders here, forearms parallel in front of you. This feels like too much pressure in the low back. You might widen the feet apart from one another. If at any point in time you need to take a break, come out of the pose before coming back up into it. Again and again, responding to the authentic reality of what is here for you in this moment. Not worrying so much about what anything looks like from the outside, but responding to what it feels like on the inside. Take one more big inhale. On your exhale, part the elbows, release the chest down. You can make a pillow with the hands for the forehead. Just rest for a few breaths. Notice if you feel any tenderness in the back. It's normal after back bending. Moment to observe the body almost bouncing back, rebounding from the shapes that you've done thus far. Lots of movement in the spine. Then start to lift yourself up, coming back onto your hands and knees to start. And then finding your way into lizard pose. For lizard pose, stepping the right leg forward and taking the foot wide so that both hands can be inside of the leg. I like to bring my hands up onto blocks here, so the ground feels a little far to start. You might utilize a chair or something different if blocks aren't available to you. Padding under that back knee can be nice. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. And the front foot, the right toes can point forward. They can point out to the side. The knee, for the most part, tracking in the same direction as the toes. But something that I feel like that's often missed in yoga is that there's this idea of perfect alignment. But the problem is that we are not all built the same. Our DNA doesn't instruct all of our bones to grow in exactly the same way. We all have slightly different hip joints, slightly different torsion in our bones, so the way they grow kind of circularly in spirals. So we each have a unique alignment to us. So for the most part, guidance is similar. So when I say knee tracking in the same direction as the toes, the reality is it will likely be close to that, but you're finding what works for you. So what brings sensation into the pose, somewhat of a stretch, but without pain. Just one more breath here on the first side. And start to shift the hips back so that you can step the right knee back next to the left. And transitioning to the second side. So left foot steps forward, shifting the hips forward and down. Both hands inside of that left leg. Left toes forward, maybe out to the side somewhat. Chest can be lifted high, or you might fold down. The forearms might even come to the ground. There's as many different variations of a pose as there are bodies, then multiplied by the amount of days that those bodies live. So your variation of a pose today might not be the same as you did yesterday or tomorrow, 10 years ago, or 10 years from now. Trying to find the truth of this present moment right here, this breath, this pose, in this body. Take one more breath here. And slowly, slowly shift the hips back. So you can step that left leg back. Then we'll come to find a seat from here. We'll move into our next pose, half butterfly. So, straightening the right leg in front of you, left knee bends, then opens to the side. The sole of the left foot along the inner right leg. You might put a blanket, a block, or padding underneath that right knee if it feels hyperextended. You may also put a block underneath the outer edge of the left leg. On an inhale, sitting tall, you might even stay tall, hands behind you, or perhaps hinging at the hips, folding forward any amount. Right toes can be actively flexed. You might have that foot a little bit more soft. And then finding your breath, feeling your breath, allowing your breath to help encourage the body to soften. With each exhale, inviting the muscles to relax. Inviting that left hip to relax, that left leg, all the muscles, even the left foot become soft. And then the right leg, same thing. From the hip, the very top, all the way down, all the muscles. Releasing tension. Take one more long breath here. And then inhale, sit tall. And switch sides, extending the left leg, bending the right, opening the right knee out to the side. Inviting any props that you need under the left knee or under the right knee. Sitting tall, staying tall, or choosing to hinge and fold forward any amount. Relaxing the muscles of the right leg, the glute, the hip, the thigh, all the way down. Right leg heavy. Relaxing the muscles of the left leg, particularly through the back side, the top part of the leg and the back, the hamstrings, the back of the left knee, all the way down. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, start to walk yourself back upright. You can close the right hip by lifting the right knee, extend the right leg long, might bounce the knees for a moment. And then we'll move into our next shape, which will be a dragonfly pose or a wide-legged seat. Now, if you feel really slouched or rounded in the low back, it can be helpful to sit up on a pillow or a blanket, whatever you need to do to sit tall. The hands can be behind you, and that might be enough. This might be your shape. If you feel as though you have space to, then perhaps you hinge at the hips, folding forward, hands coming in front of you. The hands can be on the ground. You might rest really low down and then rest the forehead onto a block or two. Or you might place forearms or hands onto blocks or a stool or books, whatever you need to support the body as it folds forward. You have a choice here. You can invite the spine to remain long, like really straight, or you can round through the spine, letting the chin drop down towards the chest. Remembering it's not about how the shape looks like from the outside, but more about how it feels on the inside. Aiming mostly for a stretch in the inner thighs. But this also, if you're folding forward, particularly rounding, will bring a stretch into the back. As I often say, if you're really tight, then you might feel this everywhere. To the best of your ability, try to notice
where the strongest sensation is. And bring your attention there to that place. And breathe directly into it. Take one more breath here. Let it all flow out. Inhale to sit tall. Then really gradually starting to make your way onto your back, hands underneath the knees, help them bend. Then come all the way down. Let the back be supported. Notice how that feels after all that folding forward in the last few poses. Feels so good for me. Hopefully it feels good for you. Feeling stable from the low back to the mid back to the upper back, feeling held up. We'll move into pigeon pose next. So taking the left ankle to the top of the right thigh, that might be close to the knee, you might pull it closer to the hip. We're looking for a stretch through the right glute, the left IT band, left glute. The right foot might stay grounded. You might hug the legs in closer, taking the left hand through the hole and around the right leg, either connecting with the right hand on the right shin or behind the right thigh. Notice if you're using your arms, if the shoulders and the head lifted up, try to keep them down. Try to keep the neck and the shoulders relaxed, even if you're using the arms. Allowing the breath to be natural, letting it do whatever it needs to do to support you in the shape. Take one more breath, whatever variation you're in. If the legs are lifted, placing the right foot back down. And then slowly unhooking that left foot. Might take a moment to extend the legs long, maybe bounce the knees, windshield wiper the feet. And setting up for the second side, bending the knees to the sky if you straighten them. Right ankle crosses on top of that left thigh, either close to the knee or further down, whatever invites more of a stretch into the right glute. The left foot might stay grounded. You might hug that leg in closer, taking the right hand through the hole between the legs to wrap around that left thigh or left shin. And then in the stillness, especially now, towards the end of the practice, notice how the mind is speaking to you. Notice what kinds of thoughts are arising in the mind. It's usually in this space of the practice where you may be reflecting on what's been happening in life lately. Maybe finding answers or clarity for any situations that you've been moving through or struggling with. Perhaps this is where you start to see a path moving forward, unfolding before your eyes. Knowing exactly what to do next, so that you are living your truth, not only within the four edges of your yoga mat, not only within the confines of your yoga practice, responding to your body's needs truthfully, but in life, knowing how to respond to the truth that you are meant to live. Authentically living in each moment, visualizing that here in every silent moment of the practice. Take one more breath here. The left leg is lifted. Gently place that foot back down. Uncross the right leg. Once again, you might stretch the legs long for a moment. Whatever you need to kind of let that go. Might feel like a flushing of energy or sensation through the hips. And we'll move into a spinal twist. You can keep the knees bent to the sky, feet on the ground, or lift the knees closer to the chest. Open the arms out wide like a T or cactus, bending the elbows. And let the knees fall to the right side. First, You can take a block underneath the knees or between the knees or a pillow, if there's any space. Aiming to keep the left shoulder grounding mostly down. Imagining every last bit of tension in the body just lifting, floating away, floating out of you. Imagining anything that's been unspoken, anything you're holding on to in the mind, just freely letting it out, freely allowing yourself to be in this world as you are meant to be, not holding on to anything here. Soft, content, and fully yourself, free to be. Take one more breath in. Stay for the full length of the exhale. Inhale, bring the knees up through center. And then take it. Oh, didn't know I had a kitty there. Then take it to the second side. The knees move over to the left. Right arm open to the right side, straight out or bent. Any blocks between the knees or under the legs, more than welcome. Relaxing the body into the twist. Not needing to force the twist deeper than it is. Being content with where the body has landed in space. Being content with the reality that your body is speaking to you. Just observing the breath and observing the mind in this stillness. Take one more breath. Stay for the whole exhale. Inhale to come back through center. Place the feet on the ground. Finding a position called constructive rest, where the feet come wider than the hips. Let the knees fall in towards one another. The hands can rest on the body. And here in this time, you can also find any other pose, any other stretch or shape that you feel like your body is asking for here still. And then in your own time, in your own way, moving into a final resting position. So this might be Shavasana, lying flat. You might stay in this constructive rest with the knees bent. You might lie on your side or on your belly, maybe just coming up to a seat to meditate for these last minutes. Finding any way for the body to be still, for the body to release completely. To invite a sense of letting go of any remaining effort or action in the body. A sense of allowing everything that you've done in this practice to integrate in its own way. Almost like it's knitting itself into the fabric of your existence, so that when you move forward with your day, you're able to carry with you from the practice exactly what you need, and letting go of all the rest. Taking what you need here with each breath in, integrating with each breath out, letting go. Start to breathe slightly deeper breaths. Start to gradually invite movement back into the body, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Roll the wrists, maybe roll the ankles. Might reach the arms overhead, maybe legs long, taking a full body stretch. And when you're ready, rolling onto either side. And then pressing your way up to a seat from there. Finding your way to any comfortable seat. I'm responding to the truth, the reality that my animals are so silly right now. As you find your way to a seat, eyes can be soft or closed for these last moments. Sitting tall, noticing how you feel. Perhaps this is where you notice what truth is your body revealing to you today. In Yin Yoga especially, there's no hiding from the truth. You hold the poses for a long period of time. No distraction, just right there with yourself, with your body, with your mind. What was revealed to you today? You can take the hands to the heart if that feels right for you, palms together to touch. Taking a moment of gratitude for this practice, whatever wisdom or insights it did bring. Gratitude towards yourself, from yourself, and gratitude towards this life. Taking one more big breath in. Open the mouth, exhale, let it go. And lift thumb knuckles to the center of the forehead if that serves you, recognizing the inner guide we each have within ourselves. May that guide within you shine bright. That guide within me bows with respect, reverence, and gratitude. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice, for sharing your time with me. I'm on this mission to share calm with you. Hopefully this brought some of that into your life today. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel and you liked this video, don't hesitate to do so before you leave. Let me know in the comments below how you feel after this practice. Maybe even sharing what insights it brought towards you today. Otherwise, I wish you the best as you move forward, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.